You are listening to a True North Eager Beaver Media Podcast. The True North Eager Beaver podcasts are proudly brought to you by our founding sponsors, the Miss V Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, your source for science fiction, fantasy, and cozy mysteries featuring a broad diversity of characters. CanadianTarot.com, your uniquely Canadian online eclectic tarot community and forum, and the Peppermaster, hot pepper sauces made from fresh farm ingredients to thrill your taste buds and expand your mind.
Well, good morning and hello, kids, and welcome to Season 3 and episode number 142 of The Daily Beaver here on the Crier Media Network. Today, recording day is Thursday, June 15th, 2023, and though it is currently gray here at the Beaver Lodge, sun is expected after a few days of rain. I'm your host, the Eager Beaver, pronouns he, him, hey, Mr. Beaver A, and with me as always is my dear friend, Mr. Grizzly. Of course, a big thank you goes to our podcast's founding sponsors, the Peppermaster, the Miss V Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, and CanadianTarot.com. We have a Thursday morning nibble for you, and before we start, let's ask Mr. Grizzly, how you feeling? How's your mental health today, sir?
Well, good morning, Mr. Beaver. I'm feeling like I got run over by a truck.
Ooh.
Well, I was up later than normal last night. Wing night, so we went over to the pub. Bridget and I went over to the pub and bumped into some old buddies. So we sat and chatted for a while. It wasn't excessive alcohol consumption or anything like that. It was just late on a school night, and that makes you tired, because your body's not used to it. So yeah, no, it was good. It was good to see some old buddies last night, and we had a nice chat. Yeah, it was great. So mental health wise, I think I'm doing pretty good. I feel I'm pretty happy. Just not fully there as a human being yet because I've not been up long enough, and I'm tired.
We're sending some thoughts out to Kit Sadeka, who has a bit of a cold, so we hope that you feel better soon. And Kit Linda, my cat, gets all excited and up in the computer screen every time she hears Douglas's voice in the intro. Every damn morning. Cool. Hey, kitty, kitty, kitty. How you doing? We like beaver kitties. We like beaver pets. All right.
What's Miss Kitty's name? I need to know so I can say it.
Yes, we have to absolutely know that. There's lots of news because there's been lots of developments. If you're watching, as you can see, I didn't get all the stage makeup off my eyes either.
You're up late. Oh yeah, you got a bit of a raccoon going on the left.
Yeah, try as I might. That's the part I always have the most trouble with, getting the makeup off. All right. So there are developments in all kinds of places. There are developments about the Volkswagen plant. There are developments on the Paul Bernardo file. There are developments on the election interference file. There's a lot going on. So let's start with. Also, Bonnie Crombie has officially entered the race for the Ontario leadership of the Ontario Liberal Party. So that party is clearly not dead yet. Of the Ontario Party for MP and for Ted Sue, who is one of the only people in the party who was able to flip a seat towards the Liberals during the last election. We have Nate Erskine-Smith, who is very well known and more on the activist side. And now with Bonnie Crombie, that makes 4. She has been slightly walking back her "there's a need for center-right alternative" comment that she mentioned when she was exploring the idea. Now the rhetoric seems to be Ontarians don't think in left or right terms. Most people are in the center. So I'm thinking that maybe someone tapped her on the shoulder and said, that's probably not your winning lane.
Yeah.
Doug Ford is pretending to not be bothered at all.
Has he gone to the cottage for the summer?
Who knows where he's gone yet?
I'll be on that. I'll be on the phone 24/7. The phone is the name of his sea-doo.
Yes. So yeah, he's been basically sort of like laughing it off. I'm not worried, but you can tell he's worried, and the reason for which he's worried is that well, he thinks he has the 905 locked up, and well, she's a popular 905 politician.
Yeah, could swing things a bit.
It could swing things just a little bit. Also, with regard to this, it seems that she has a higher favorability rating than Ford. Is the front runner in the race in terms of name recognition. She is. A lot of people forget it, but she is a former MP, so she does have parliamentary experience.
Yeah.
And things are a little different this time because this is the first time that the Ontario Liberal Leadership Convention will not be delegated, but a one-member, one-vote race. So we don't, which could end up benefiting NACV in a way, because since he was once president of the party, in all those electoral districts where you need to get the highest number of votes to get those 100 points, he might already have all the contacts there based from that day. Those days. So it could be a very, 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 very interesting race. So that has happened, but with 4 relatively big names for a party that doesn't have official status, it seems that there's still life in the old party yet, as they say. In other news, with regard to,
I have something for you.
Sure thing.
I have something for you that I don't know if you saw this. This is interesting to say the least. It's a video clip. It's a 2-minute video clip. I'll show it in just a second. I just want to give you a precursor. It's from somebody who is got a lot of mental health issues. Okay. Well-documented individual with a past of alcohol abuse, and we'll leave it at that.
Okay.
It's a video clip of Jeremy Mackenzie eating his own.
Okay.
I'll play this. It's 2 minutes, and then we'll come back and talk about it. Just give me a sec while I line it up here, and here we go. This will be a shocker, I think, for a lot of people. I think this man may be sober.
Most Canadians are fucking losers. Like, it's a loser country full of weak, soft, pathetic people. Just, sorry, that's what it is, man. That's prove me wrong. You know,
I can't.
Where's the lie, right?
Yeah, I can't.
Because that is what it is. He's right. It's a hobby. We're gonna go scream at empty buildings, and because a lot of these people, they don't fit anywhere else. That's why they're there. Like the free dumb people. Yeah, that's why they're there, because they have nowhere else to go. They don't have any jobs, they don't have any families, they don't have any social circles. And they're losers that found kind of a niche where this was a place that took everybody because at the time, when this kind of came down on everybody, it was like the more the merrier, the numbers, right? And it's just kind of attracted all these vagrants and politically homeless people who don't really believe it. They're just a train. A lot of them are drug addicts and alcoholics, and they just want to party and fuck around. And that's a lot of it. That's most of it. And that cast, that was why I had a hard time being embraced by a lot of the wider public, because they go out and see what these people are about, and it's a bunch of people shirtless, smoking cigarettes, half in the bag, hammered, screaming about the world economic, stuff that they don't understand. They just look crazy and insane.
Yeah.
And it's okay, you're some dad that works at a software company, and okay, well, here's a guy who's half shit-faced in the bag who looks like an extra from Sons of Anarchy, and he's screaming at me about how Bill Gates is putting microchips in vaccines. I'm going to walk away pretty quickly from that. And that's, and that's what's left now. Everybody else has kind of gone on with their lives. I'm still doing what I was doing before, and other people are. And there's this collection of lost people with nothing to do who are just still, stuck in this weird kind of endless cycle of protesting nothing. They don't even really know what they're angry about, and what do they want? They don't know. Freedom, whatever that means. Let me do whatever I want all the time for free is what it means, I guess.
Yeah.
Sober second thought. It makes me question, has the man found sobriety? I don't know. Look, he still is a very problematic individual. He's got his Diagolon flag in the background there. He has mental health issues that need to be dealt with, no question. But it's like they're eating their own now.
Yeah.
But what he said, other than him going off about Canadians being losers, which go to hell, but what he said about that crew, it's not inaccurate.
No. It's the same.
It's not inaccurate at all.
And cults.
Yeah.
You need a place to belong? Come on, we'll be your family. But meanwhile...
That's exactly.
Meanwhile, when they're alone in their dens, only amongst themselves, this is what they say about you.
Mm-hmm. Except he said this on his podcast.
Yeah, he's saying it in his podcast. But these people talk too much. That's their problem. Pierre Poilievre learned, right, when they started talking about his wife.
Yeah.
They're just using them too.
Oh yeah. The guy has a lot of mental health issues. He's a hateful racist. I'm not giving him a pass on anything.
But all those people he was talking about, these are people that he's knowingly using. Yep. He can get these people to come to our thing, and when you're doing an occupation, it's the bodies that matter. You don't care why they're there.
No.
You don't care if they're true believers. You don't care if they're sitting in some den rationally playing 3D chess. 3D chess, not chest. 3D chess.
That's a different sport altogether.
Right. So, you just care that people show up and cause chaos.
Yeah. Well, he's an agent of chaos. They're there.
But this is what he thinks of them.
Yeah. So I wonder, will that's going to blow back on him, which, hey, whatever, you reap what you sow.
Yeah.
It's going to blow back on him. I don't know what's going to happen. They're just going to disintegrate. Their whole movement, which is a bowel movement, if you ask me, is petered out to almost nothing. What are they protesting now? There are no more mandates. There haven't been for a long time.
Well, they're protesting what they were really protesting all along.
Yes. Yeah. They just hate the government.
Yeah. Well, that's that, right? People were asking, FYMM. What does that mean? Fuck you, make me.
F you. Yeah. F you, make me. Yeah. Yeah.
There you go.
So I thought that was an interesting video clip, and I thought we could share it so that people could see that. Look, this is not a group of good people. They will use you, abuse you, and toss you aside. They will use you to step up the rung of the ladder and stomp on you in the process. They don't care.
No,
they don't care.
No, you're the first to go.
Yeah. Well,
the useful idiots are the first to go.
Skippy used them until they, verbally assaulted his wife or spoke about committing sexual assault on his wife. And then all of a sudden he wanted them to go to jail. Did you notice how he got arrested like 2 days later?
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was interesting. Mm-hmm. He got arrested real fast.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so all the other crimes he committed up to that point was getting a pass on. But as soon as Skippy, you know, Mr. Tough Guy.
Yep.
I'm just asking questions.
I hear you. I hear you. Oh, man. On the public inquiry front, the government now has Dominic LeBlanc, the Intergovernmental Affairs Minister, as the point person on this. Why they did not have him there from the get-go, I do not understand. They seem to be doing it the way that most people would have expected them to do it the first time now, which is making me wonder again, was this again just one more episode of the Liberals tripping over the flowers in the carpet, as they are prone to do? Yeah. Because for some reason they just can't handle having a lead in the polls. As soon as they get it, they need to blow it, which they've done again. Or is this really, again, some rope-a-dope? Because once again, the Bloc Québécois Conservative Party of Canada coalition is at work. Mm-hmm. They both joined together to make sure we didn't get electoral reform, and they both joined together to vote down the budget estimates for the latest budget, and they both got together on this, and now they are collaborating together to try and suggest some names that they would like. Now, the Bloc Québécois has gone first, but they have met with the Conservatives, haven't met with any other party. The Conservatives haven't met with any other party as well. So interesting. And the Bloc Québécois has made some suggestions. For example, they've suggested Louise Arbour, former Supreme Court of Canada Justice, and again, War Crimes Tribunal judge. They've suggested Irwin Cotler, a Liberal, very well-known human rights advocate. Mm-hmm. So, you know, some names that were really, really serious. But we have Jagmeet Singh here making a few interesting points about the Bloc Québécois suggestions and how he would like to see the process go. And this actually seems quite decent. And you will notice how he proposes not every party suggesting their own names, but a little bit of a different way to go about it. All right, so here we go.
But I want to be clear about the path forward. The path forward, what I've suggested, is a similar model to what happens in the provincial parliament in Ontario, where we've got each member of each recognized party has an elected official present in a committee that's responsible for selection in Ontario for any officer of the legislature, but in this case would be specifically for the public inquiry, that it would be chaired by the speaker. In the case of Ontario, it can be chaired a non-voting member that chairs it, and then we would review the prospective candidates for the position, in this case the public inquiry. So you've got a representative from each of the parties there reviewing the candidates. The candidates need to be vetted. We need to ensure a couple of criteria, that there is no association with, for example, the Trudeau Foundation, given the allegations around foreign interference there, that it's a judge or someone that's a retired judge, and someone that is not donated to a political party in a recent period of time, just to ensure that there's no appearance of bias. Those are some of the basic criteria. There'd be a vetting process, and then we select the opposition, or we select the person that's going to run the public inquiry together. This process is one where we're all in the same room and we're making decisions together. And finally, to set what the parameters of the public inquiry, that's also something we should be doing together. It shouldn't be the case that each opposition leader sends a separate set of demands and then the government receives that and says, oh, there's no consensus. That's not the way to do this. What we want is everyone sitting together, working together, and then delivering a process that works.
Okay, so you've outlined your criteria again, how you want this process to work. Now, we have heard the Bloc Québécois put forward some specific names like Louise Arbour and Irwin Cotler. Do you have any specific names right now?
Well, good point. So the Bloc put forward a name, Louise Arbour. They were strongly critical of Mr. Johnson for his connections to the Trudeau Foundation. On one Google search of Justice Arbour's name and the Trudeau Foundation finds one Google search that she's actually also has some connections to the foundation. So the name that the Bloc provided has the exact same critique that they've had against Mr. Johnson, which is illustrative of why we don't want to just throw out names. We want a process in place. And the process has to satisfy certain criteria so we don't end up in the kind of embarrassing situation the Bloc is in. Their major critique of Mr. Johnson is now being replicated in the name that they've suggested themselves. And that's something that's not helpful in this process. So what we want to do is have a process of criteria, and then a vetting process of people that can satisfy that criteria. And then as all elected, all official parties, a consensus on selecting the candidate to avoid that kind of embarrassing mistake that the Bloc has just made.
Interesting commentary.
Mm-hmm. So it's not about the associations with Trudeau. Even Justice Louise Arbour, who was good enough to be brought in to clean up the military, would not be considered impartial enough for this. War Crimes Tribunal judge would not be. Because she once was within 35 kilometers of the Trudeau Foundation. And this is the Bloc. Well, point of problem, we can't have this. Suggesting a name that has the exact... So they didn't do any research. They said, oh, well, Louise Arbour sounds good, or when Kotler sounds good. Who are people that like sound, that nobody could object to? Which is the exact same process the Liberals did when they picked David Johnston.
Mm-hmm. I still think Kim Campbell would be the ideal choice. I think she's also too smart to not bother getting in. She'd be like, nope. I don't think she wants to be within 100 kilometers of that thing.
Well, now they're talking like it may not even be one person because they're already thinking they might not be agreeing. It might be a panel.
Yeah.
So everybody gets their person in. They're not even. They made all this stink. And then they said, hey, how about these names? And didn't do a search to see if they had association with the Trudeau. You'd think that the first thing they would do, of any name,
put it in the Googler.
Let's go into the Trudeau Foundation and let's look at all the alumni. All these people are out. But no, because it's not about that. Is it?
No. No.
The only thing that pisses me off about this is that it's the Bloc Québécois that went first, because if PP would have come out and said, how about Louise Arbour?
Oh, man, that would have been too sweet.
But that was PP using the Bloc.
Yeah.
No, yeah. You go first. We'll be right out. Oh, so that happened. Okay. Gee, thanks. Thanks for sipping the cup of wine before we did. Thank you, personal taster Yves-François Blanchet. Fucking loser that man is. And of course, during that whole thing where he was making that, of course, it was full of xenophobic statements. Of course it was doing that.
Of course it was.
That man, I swear, that man. He's got the easiest job in Parliament. All he has to say, oh, well, yeah, the Quebec Assembly voted for this, we're for this too. And then he just rides on the coattails. And until either the leader or the party does something really, really stupid, like happened a few years ago when they decided to take a turn to the right to see how that would work out with him, with Pierre Poilievre, they get their 35 to 40, 50 seats. Just by saying, yeah, us too. That's all they got to do. And they got a little petulant and pompous bigot leading the party. Anyway, sorry. As kids may or may not know, I have a personal issue with Yves-François Blanchet because he has been racist towards me specifically in public. So I do not like that man.
Good reason to have a dislike.
Pretty much everything I have to say about him is colored by that. Oh, did I say colored? Sorry. All right.
Oopsie.
Somebody flipped my switch to bitch.
Yeah.
Anyway, but that clip tells you no. It's a game to these people.
Yeah.
Not a game for Mr. Singh. He's actually come up with a thoughtful way forward. But it's
because he loves this country. And period. He loves this country. It's obvious. Skippy doesn't give a damn. He cares about two things: money and power. That's it. That's all he cares about. Spent evidence. There's so much evidence to go around to corroborate my theory. It's not even a theory. It's a simple statement of fact. Yep. And Mr. Singh loves this country.
Oh yeah.
Yep. And who asked for, let's take a look at all foreign interference? Mr. Singh.
Yep, twice.
Right?
Twice. First
time, we just want to investigate Beijing interference.
Yeah, the first time Conservatives voted against it, I believe so, and then the second time they voted for it.
Yeah.
I tell you, man. Oh, we have the kits there. Oh, petty is a nice color on you, dear queen. Oh, thank you, Kit Kendra. Now that's a new name for us. Kit Kendra, welcome to the Beaver Lodge.
Welcome to the party, Kendra.
And PCS, Blue Wool runs deep with Eve. Indeed, yes. As I think the comment that I heard is that his speech was very xenophobic and full of purrrfectisms.
Oh. That can't be good.
Yeah. I tell you, man. Jeez. There's also some stuff about Marco Mendicino. This guy, there's rumors that there's a shuffle coming. This guy's gotta go.
He just keeps tripping over it.
And I have to say now, I'm agreeing with Pierre Poilievre.
Broken clock. Yeah, I know. Try not to throw up in your mouth.
Sorry. But he's right for the wrong reasons.
Yeah, of course.
Let's put it that way. But he's right. It has come out, Mendicino, who said that all the police stations had been taken care of, and turns out they hadn't. The RCMP now says that 7 or 8 have been addressed, but the ones in Montreal in particular are issues because there may have been some Canadians who have been coerced into helping, and therefore that one might be a little more complicated. Right. But there's a whole other issue with him, and he's been tripping, during the public order emergency inquiry. Turns out that he had said that the police had asked for this, and then the police didn't specifically ask for that, not in those words. Let's put it that way. And there was no request formal in those words. Well, now the latest one is the Paul Bernardo move from maximum to medium security prison, where the line has been that nobody knew about it beforehand. Well, it turns out that that's not exactly true. It appears that the office of Mendicino knew 3 months before the transfer. Correctional Service Canada first emailed the office on March 2nd saying that Bernardo would be moved, but no date was finalized at that time. Now, I can understand in one way staffers saying, okay, well, we don't have a date. We're not going to say anything yet. We just put a pin in that and wait for the dates to come. I also heard the comment, well, maybe these were all young staffers because there are young staffers, and the Bernardo thing's over 30 years old, and they didn't have the cultural reference and didn't think it was all that important because the name meant nothing.
It was just another inmate.
Turns out that is not the case. So it turns out it wasn't a case of young staffers. So why it is they said nothing? Nothing at all. But on May 25th, about 4 days before the transfer, they received one and said that he would be transferred in 4 days. And they still did not inform the minister then. They say they did not inform the minister until the day after Bernardo was transferred. They say that they were working on examining other options and looked into authorities available to the minister to be able to take action to prevent that, but learned that the office has no powers over transfer decisions, which I'm kind of surprised they had to research that, because that's pretty much Civics 101.
Mm-hmm.
That's like when Daniel Smith was saying, I had to ask Rob Anderson whether or not we had the power. Like, you shouldn't have to ask that question. That's pretty obvious. If you've met Canada and you've lived here for X number of years, you know this. So I do not know why that happened. Mendici-no did not speak publicly about the transfer of the call or call the commissioner in charge until Correctional Service of Canada made the news public, and it would have been a breach of privacy laws for him to speak of it any earlier. Of course, that puts the communications optics situation of caring more about the privacy of Bernardo than this, which, hey, that's the law, and it creates sticky situations, but we're in a situation where we're talking about making the rules based on the exception. Right? Paul Bernardo is exceptionally bad person. Yes. Right? And you don't try to make common rules based on the exceptions. You don't try to make new law on a bad case. Right? Because the end result's never all that good. Tim Danson, who's the lawyer representing the families, says that it's unacceptable that the minister was kept in the dark for 89 days. And if that's true, the staff kept that secret from their boss, then it's an egregious abdication of responsibility. This is exactly the kind of information that must be communicated to the minister, because the buck stops with him. And this is one of the most high-profile cases in this country's history and should have been raised directly with the minister earlier. As a public relations guy, that would have been my thought as well. 2 words you never want to hear when you're in politics: minister vulnerable. If you do not tell the minister that one of Canada's most notorious serial killers is going to be changed from maximum to minimum security anytime anything's mentioned, every time his parole thing comes up X number of years or whatnot, which is by law it has to, and everybody freaks out. Oh my God, I can't believe. And there's no way he's ever going to get parole, but everybody freaks out, and everybody tries to score the political points and tries to fear Conger that it might happen. He might get released this time. No. So this is the same thing that's kind of going on here. But that's going to happen as soon as you say Bernardo.
Oh, yeah.
All the ears in the nation go, whoop. So why you wouldn't tell? Why? Minister vulnerable. You never leave a minister in that position. So whoever was on a staff who did that, if this is indeed true, is a thing. Now, it seems that the Prime Minister's office also knew. They were alerted in March about the possibility of a transfer and request for and the Prime Minister's office sent a request for information to Mendici-no's office. Because that's usually what happens, right? Something comes to the Prime Minister's office, and then you get a request for information, and all the various departments that have to do some information put it back up, and then the briefing note is written from that, from everything that comes up from the bottom. So that has gone out. Whether or not the request for information was acted upon is still not clear. Usually those things come in files, and those files have certain colors, and I'm sure if there's a file on Bernardo, it probably had a bright red. So
I would think there'd be a little sticker to indicate that.
Stickery thing, like you really need to see this one now. Please look at this one first. So again, no word on that. Yeah. Now, Mendici-no has taken action. He said that he's issued a statement. First his staff said that he would address reporters' questions, and then Mendici-no didn't do that. He issued a statement instead on Wednesday. Usually not a good sign. Said that he's directing the Correctional Service of Canada to inform victims' families when an inmate is transferred out of maximum security prison, and to inform directly when it plans to transfer a high-profile or dangerous offender. And Danson, the lawyer for the families, did speak about this with Mendici-no on Wednesday. Now, the Prime Minister's office also didn't tell the Prime Minister about Bernardo's transfer until the day before it happened, or the day it happened, or the day before. So the Prime Minister knew about a day before Mendici-no claims that he knew. Now, all of these stories are consistent, right? Mendocino didn't know. The Prime Minister didn't know until that time. When you're asking about all the other stuff with regards to the Chinese interference, about Michael Chong, they didn't let them know. It seems to be standard operating procedure that a lot of people are saying, like, unless this is like really, we're not going to bother them with that, which that probably needs to change. However, interesting enough, when you look back at the foreign interference file, it seems that Bill Blair said that he was not alerted to the Michael Chong stuff. But Alain Vigneault says that he had sent something specifically to Blair and said, you need to act on this. So we have contradicting stories here.
Yeah.
On that one, which doesn't help on this one.
No.
Because if they were all consistent all the way throughout, and the main line always is, that information didn't get up, that information was not flagged, that information. In this particular case with Bernardo, it seems that it was. And if it was flagged, and it's happening concurrently at the same time in the news as the other one, it may very well be that the foreign interference stuff wasn't flagged.
Could be, yeah. Yeah.
But that the Bernardo is, and that both stories are in the news at the same time, kind of makes it much harder for people to believe that on the foreign interference one, it wasn't flagged. This is not going to help.
No.
Man, I tell you. So, yeah, this is about to get real messy.
It's just all bad.
It's all bad.
It's all bad.
It's all bad. Mr. Grizzly, how are we doing on time?
We got a little bit.
We got a little bit? All right.
Yeah.
So, yeah, keep your ears peeled for this, kits, because this has my public relations guy Spidey senses tingling that there is a hot mess somewhere in here. And it's probably not going to be good for the Liberals. Sorry.
Yeah.
But yeah.
It's a bad situation. And I know a lot of people have come out to try and find, like, okay, let's see if, and look, it was handled poorly.
Yeah.
It was very poorly, and we're always facts first here, right? It was handled poorly,
and we're not partisan.
We're not being partisan about this. It was
somebody screwed the pooch and dropped the ball, probably simultaneously here.
Yeah,
and it's not a good look.
No, it's not.
It's really not a good look.
And the original sort of possible explanation of, well, maybe they didn't, because of their age and their they didn't know the cultural and blah blah. Well, it turns out that's not the case. It's like, oops.
Yeah.
That you can't apologize for this because they screwed the pooch.
They screwed the pooch. Yeah, about the best that they can do at the moment is to try to take corrective measures and put things in place for the future and point to that. Don't talk about the mistake we made. Talk about the changes that we're making now. That's about the only spin avenue that's available because this is bad.
Yeah, This is, we need to hire a navigator bad. Don't hire a navigator.
Yeah, don't hire a navigator.
But that's how bad it is. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, yeah, you screwed up, man. You did.
Mendocino's got to go.
He's
got to go. Every time we mention him, there's something.
He's had his 3 strikes as far as I'm concerned.
He's had like 5 or 6
a while ago. That's what I mean. A while ago. Yeah, dude, backbench.
Yeah, he's not a star.
I don't know what he's like as a person, but he seems to be very incapable of handling any file given to him.
Yep. And he's in a pretty major portfolio.
Yeah. Well, look, I'm going to say this because I think it really does apply. He is an old white man who continues to fail up.
Yep.
I mean, tell me I'm wrong.
I cannot.
I don't think you can tell me. I don't think you can tell me I'm wrong.
No. He's the Minister of Public Safety. We've had the convoy.
Yeah.
We have Bernardo's transfer. And we have foreign intimidation along with clandestine police stations.
Dude,
And he hasn't been stellar on these 3 points at all.
Nope.
And clearly there's something with our intelligence agencies and the way that information gets communicated. We found that out with the convoy. We're finding that out with Bernardo's probably not the intelligence communities, but Correctional Service Canada. But anything that's sensitive with regard to application of the law, enforcement of the law, it just seems that there are so many that are probably a good idea in theory. Ways to keep some distance between the minister and and the actual operation of things, because the minister is not supposed to direct operations.
Right.
But when you've got so many of these levels of distance that a transfer to medium security of one of Canada's most notorious serial killers isn't judged important enough to make it to the desk. When we got a situation where the commissioner of the RCMP says, in the case of a occupation, oh, well, I have this other plan here, but decides not to speak up to volunteer it, allegedly, assuming there was a plan here, which is that fact is not in evidence either. When you have a situation where MPs are being targeted, now, of course, in terms of intelligence, that threat was probably assessed and deemed to be, this is just business as usual for the PRC, and whatever. But during an election, you might want to move that up a bit. There's clearly some changes that need to be made there, and that portion that former Special Rapporteur, former Governor General David Johnston recommended about having some public hearings on how that information is handled and disseminated and moved up and down the system within our intelligence communities and our law enforcement communities, and our national security apparatus, is probably a good idea, because we keep on coming back to these same problems all the time. It always seems to end up there. Something wasn't communicated. Something didn't go up. There was a turf war, and 2 divisions decided not to share information instead, so that they could be there or whatever it is.
He's got to go.
He's got to go.
He's got to go. Bro, you don't have it. You don't gots it, man.
Yep.
You gots to go.
Yep. And like James says here again, the worst was when Correctional Services Canada cited Bernardo's privacy rights as part of the decision-making process. We mentioned that, yep. Because now he does legally have privacy rights.
Yes.
But again, the former spin doctor says you generally don't put those up first. Now, I know that they're probably the thinking from people who are not maybe sensitive to this issue as well. He's the one who's still alive, so he's the one whose rights apply.
Yeah. But big but.
When you're talking about it in public,
Sir Mix-a-Lot, big but.
Yes.
Like, come on.
It seems to me that you would put the emphasis on the rights of the families when speaking. Yes, of course, you have to treat both rights equally, and that's the way the process writes. But when you're speaking about them, do you think you wouldn't say, well, we ought to take care of his privacy rights? It would be, well, we really, that's the family. Now we understand that he has some privacy rights, but the family, no. Right? It's, the one, slide the little but the privacy. You don't make that the focus of your answer.
The one thing in all of this that I've had an issue with is Skippy always blaming the Prime Minister for every ill in the country. Like, that's all he ever does. Because of Justin Trudeau, the prices of houses has gone up, and 35-year-olds are living in their parents' basements because they can't afford to buy a home. Okay, we'll unpack that in just a second, because I am going to swing back to that in just a second. But now he's blaming crime on the Prime Minister. And here's the thing. He's like, he shouldn't be allowed out. Well, I'm not going to argue he shouldn't be allowed out, and he's not getting out. He's being transferred. So he's not being released, number one. Number two, the hay that Skippy's trying to make with this would make him a gatekeeper. Right? The Prime Minister does not have a hand in this.
And interfering directly in the legal system, which I believe they were against when SNC had to do it, but not against when Danielle Smith did it with House
No,
Republicans.
no,
So
no,
that too seems to be on a sliding scale. But anyway,
it's only okay when we do it, but when you do it, it's bad. And here's the thing: it's like the government doesn't direct Corrections Canada. They don't.
Which is why it was so surprising to me that the people looked in to see whether or not they could. The staff.
You can't. It's like, no, you cannot direct it. You have to have a hands-off approach to that organization because, constitutionally speaking, the government would be a dictator and we would not be a democracy if they had their hands in every single pie across the country.
Mm-hmm.
There are different departments that run different things, along with, there's provincial responsibilities. That Skippy, he purposely ignores basic civics because he relies upon people to have no time to actually learn what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And B, he just wants to win the nanosecond and use, I'm going to use the term ignorance here, use the general public's ignorance, but it's not ignorance because they don't want to learn it. It's they just don't have the time.
They just don't know.
They don't know, and they don't have the time to learn the facts, which is why this program that we do is important. You can watch this at your leisure. You can watch the live stream. You can watch it on the replay. You can see us on YouTube. You can listen to us on a multitude of podcast services. We are going to deliver true facts to you all the time, and we need you to understand that the conservatives do not have your interests at heart. Now, that being said, Marco Mendocino has had a dozen strikes, at least. Guy needs to be removed. He needs to be removed. Period. He blew this one. Again, Prime Minister does not have his hands in directing Corrections Canada, but they blew this one horribly.
Yep. If Kit James Go Mendocino's office did give CSC a new directive to formally and directly inform the minister if a dangerous offender is being transferred. True.
Yes.
He did do that. And just like national security is that now you must formally and directly inform the public safety minister if an MP and the MP in question if they're being targeted. Again, why this wasn't, the only thing I can think of why this wasn't standard is because they received threats and targets so often that that's all they would do. I know in the past election, if it was Chrystia Freeland, it would have been the case because I think 60% of the online hate directed towards women during the last election all went to her. So, they would have been handling that full time. So, I can understand why you don't tell everybody, but everyone. I see. That's what I mean. We don't know how it really works. How many threats do we get a year? How many, would, if CSIS is doing that, is that all they would be doing? Informing MPs that, here's another threat, how would their offices handle that? So, and they only warn about like the absolute most ones, and the fact that the government of the PRC said we're watching you to see if you got family. Well duh. I'm sorry, but if you're in politics, if you're a member of a G7 country and you're in politics and you have a minimally Western view of China, shouldn't you just assume you're being watched? Really? It's not like China is a mystery. They have some set plays of their own.
Yeah, one or two. Huh?
Yeah. So, that's what I mean. It's very confusing, and we don't have enough information. Right, as Christian says, everyone is watching. Everyone's watching everyone. So it's yeah. He's a liability, and he has to go. And in that shuffle, I would also put Mary Ng. She got to go too. And it's not like there aren't any backbenchers that haven't been showing themselves to be worthy. You have Mark Gerritsen, who's been doing a good job. You have Ryan Tumulty, that's been doing a good job. I think you have Jennifer O'Connell lately, who's been doing a good job. So there are some people that are gaining some profile from doing their regular work who can be promoted up. There's no lack of talent, let's just say, on the bench to bring up. So, you've had your turn. You're going to sit the shift out. Going to put you on the fourth line for now. I talks the sports. I used fourth line correctly.
Yes. Yes, you did.
Yay, pat.
Once in a while, eh?
Yeah,
Once in a
absolutely.
while.
You let me know how we're doing on time because I got content.
Yeah, we're gonna have to cut it short in a minute or two here. I've got two graphics I want to show. One is hypocrisy, right here.
Yep.
For those listening, it is a political cartoon of a water bomber trying to put out wildfires while someone in a biplane with the Conservative Party logo on the tail is flying a banner behind it saying, "Stop the carbon tax." And then for people like, I don't know, the Premier of Alberta and Theo Fleury, we have free hat in every box.
Oh my.
Aluminium foil, free hat in every box.
Oh my god, that's when a product that never had any sugar in it, it says now sugar free.
Yes.
Free.
Wait a minute, what? You don't have sugar. I saw.
I love that.
I bought a box of oatmeal raisin cookies and said, and the big green label on it was plant-based. Well, they're oatmeal.
Oat.
It's in the name. Oatmeal raisin. Both plants. Raisins were grapes, which were dried in the sun. Of course they're plant-based. But this is what's become of us. If you don't tell people what it is, they don't know. I literally looked at it and I go, is this shit for real? So I bought them because they were very tasty. And I posted a picture on Twitter of this 2 years ago, and I still think about it and go, it's like the thing. The reason aliens don't come here is because we have to put a plant-based stamp on a carton of mashed potatoes.
I think I'm beginning to understand directions on shampoo.
Lather, rinse, repeat.
It's
like the window shades. Do not drive with window shade in place in your windshield.
Right. The thing with the shampoo, though, it's the repeat. Lather, rinse, repeat.
Well, they did that to sell more product.
Lather, rinse, repeat. Isn't this an endless cycle? When do you stop repeating?
They noticed that sales went up tremendously.
That's just big shampoo trying to get you to empty that bottle.
That's all it is.
Yeah.
Except for those of us who literally needed to do it twice. I had to lather, rinse, and repeat it because when I had hair, it would get sweaty, greasy. And they're like, some people go, I don't wash my hair every day. No, I had to. Because I sweat like a demon. Why do you think I'm so thin at 55? My metabolic rate is ridiculous.
Yep. Trust me, I've seen him in person. He moves a lot.
Okay, let's wrap up. I got to get into the office. I'm going to be late. That's my fault, though. That's my fault.
And this is why we love him. We love him. We loved ourselves some Grizz. We do.
Well,
all right.
Tomorrow being Friday, we'll have lots of time, and I'll do the official stash removal. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to shave it, and I'm going to leave this bit for part of the program. Just the little curly bit. I'll shave the middle and have part of it for
just the curly bit.
Yeah, for a little bit. I think it'll be funny. I'll look like a rat.
The things you do to yourself.
Hey man, look at this. Look. This is
Oh, nice. Ooh, hello. A Borden.
$100 for the Cornerstone Housing for Women.
Lovely.
So yeah, I'm gonna just give me a sec here and let me just pull this scrolling chiron down and go back over here and go into the chat and post the link to Cornerstone Housing for Women for those of us who would like to, for those watching or listening, if you're listening, cornerstonewomen.ca, and then you can go to their donation page once you're on their webpage, and you can donate. Tomorrow is Friday, yes, Reed. If you donate, please just you can put either True North Eager Beaver or my name. It doesn't matter, just so we know, and send us a snapshot if you could, just so we know, because I think, and I can't confirm this. I might have to reach out to Cornerstone to get some numbers from them, but I think we've raised about $2,000.
Oh, that would be wonderful.
I could be wrong. It might even be more. I don't know. That's the thing.
We don't know. Not everybody's receipts.
That's right. And at my office, I posted it, and it's been seen by 1,200 people. Wow. And I've gotten a lot of comments from people who are like, we're going to donate. We're going to donate. So I don't know, because I haven't, all I did was just post it. I didn't ask them to put the donation in my name or anything like that. Because I was cautious about promoting, I don't want to promote this in my place of work. I like to keep them compartmentalized, right? Mm-hmm. Although that being said, there are many people whom I work with who know full well about our brand, our media company, and what we do and say. But I still, you keep them separate. Yep. So I have no idea how much money's been raised through my place of employment, but I'm hoping it's a good amount.
Yeah, me too.
And and like I said, I started with the $100 figure, but it's like literally $62 is what works for one day. So if you can donate as little as $62, if you can donate $20, if you only got $5, whatever you can donate is good.
Mm-hmm.
Because it helps.
That's for the pot.
That's right. It helps people in need. And again, there are 1,000 women a year that become homeless in Ottawa, which is, and trust me when I say this, when these women become homeless, it is not like a guy becoming homeless. It usually oftentimes has domestic violence involved, abuse, you name it. So, yeah, it's a charity that's near and dear to my heart. They're in my community. They were horribly affected by the pandemic and by the occupation.
And a fire.
And a fire immediately after they reopened. It's like, talk about having a rough year. And this is a good organization. And there's a lot of friends of mine that I've spoken to have said point blank, oh, that's the one I give to frequently. I've worked with them many times. They're good people. They do good work. So that's my charity of choice.
There you go. All right. Kits, that's the end of this episode of the Daily Beaver podcast. We hope you loved listening to us because we love making this for you. Remember that sharing is caring and word of mouth is priceless. Please let your peeps and poops know about us. Because democracy is something that you do, please, please, please donate to Cornerstone Housing for Women or the Red Cross, or write a letter. Let people know you still have some things that are bothering you and you want to see some changes. You're the boss. Write your employee an evaluation letter. If you really like this podcast, you can find us on the Crier Media Network as well as all Beaver Grizzly friendly platforms. And if your platform is not Beaver Grizzly friendly, why the hell not, and why you want it? Stars and reviews are appreciated. Please, please, please be generous. And we'd love to hear from you, so please reach us on our Facebook at True North Eager Beaver, our Twitter feed at True Eager, or by email at truenortheagerbeaver@gmail.com, or leave a comment on our YouTube page. And we had a lovely comment the other day from someone who was very happy that we were back. So thank you so much for tuning in. Yes.
Oh, you can subscribe. Sorry.
Yes.
When I have a moment. Sorry. Oh my goodness. Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Okay. You can subscribe to us via our pod page, podpage.com/the True North Eager Beaver, all in lowercase letters with a hyphen between each one of those words. And I'm sure Mr. Grizzly will make the little QR code appear on the bottom of the screen for that. And if you happen to be watching on our True North Eager Beaver Media Incorporated YouTube channel, why not make like Kit Elaine and smash those buttons, particularly the subscribe button? That helps us out big time. And we thank you. Absolutely. And if you happen to be listening on podcast and don't really venture off to YouTube, when you have an opportunity, if you could just go by the site and click subscribe, that would help us out too.
That would be great.
Yeah, we can't do this without your kind and generous support. So if you feel we've done a particularly good show, or we've been having a particularly good week for you, please scan the QR code right by Mr. Grizzly's head. That will bring you to our emergency hydration fund, where we hire staff called coffee and hot chocolate and Caesar, and Guinness, and sometimes a few gluten-free Farm Boy chocolate chip ice cream cookies. Just say. Cookie sandwiches, of course, because you got 2 cookies. Because if it's just, you don't want an ice cream open face sandwich.
I gotta have a sandwich.
Yeah.
I was going to say, when I have a chance, I haven't had the opportunity yet, but for those folks who missed the 5 shows last week when we weren't on YouTube, we have them saved. I have downloaded all of them, and I will post them to YouTube once I have a chance. It's a bit of work to do it, and I haven't had the spare time to do it, but I will get those posted by the weekend. So if you missed us last week when we were barred from broadcasting because of
will we put them up as free broadcasts over the weekend?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, let's do that. Just so you know, the interview with Jason Carman also didn't. We got.
I know, and I've tried.
Happened.
I've not been able to do it.
Oh, okay.
I've tried to. It won't let me do it for some reason.
There you go. Oh boy.
Yeah.
All right. And if you are listening, then you can go to our coffee fund. That's ko-fi.com/eagerbeaver. One word, lowercase letters, and that's where you can make your donation. Every donation is very much appreciated, also appropriated and put back into the show. Nice save. Yes, woke cookies, indeed. Please send them. I eat cookies. I'm not picky. Woke cookies, chocolate chip cookies, oatmeal raisin cookies. Just hand over the cookies. Nobody gets hurt from the Beaver Lodge. This is your Eager Beaver saying, until next time, dear kids, it could be a tough world out there, so please be kind to and gentle with yourself. Mr. Grizzly, do you have some words of wisdom for us before we go?
You spoke of cookies, made me think of Cookie Monster, and Cookie Monster saying, me will have an excellent day, and if day goes bad, me will eat cookie.
Yes, and it will be good day.
Exactly.
Yes.
Or in the words of Barney, not Stinson's, Barney from How I Met Your Mother.
Okay.
If I'm having a bad day, I just be awesome instead, and then my day is better.
There you go. Mr. Grizzly, please roll them credits.
Okay, I just have to find them first. There they are.
You are listening to a True North Eager Beaver media podcast. The True North Eager Beaver podcasts are proudly brought to you by our founding sponsors, the Miss V Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, your source for science fiction, fantasy, and cozy mysteries featuring a broad diversity of characters. CanadianTarot.com, your uniquely Canadian online eclectic tarot community and forum, and The Pepper Master, hot pepper sauces made from fresh farm ingredients to thrill your taste buds and expand your mind.
I see we have Kit Dan that's doing the Cookie Monster song. Cookie, 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 start with C. You know what else starts with C? Mr. Grizzly? Cookout, if you will. One of our sponsors, the Pepper Master, has a special for you kits. Their special Father's Day kit. It has the premium old school jerk cooking sauce, some Hurricane Category 6 premium dipping sauce here, some steak spice. What else? Peach maple bacon sauce.
Oh, I want to try
Lots of good stuff in this little thing. Normally $280. The folks at the Peppermaster are putting it on sale for $100. So if you go to peppermaster.com/products/fathers-day-kit-2023, there's a link put in there in the chat. If you're looking for a Father's Day gift, try that. It's and we've sampled some of the sauces. It's some
They're
damn
really good
stuff.
Well, I sampled a whole bunch of it on Sunday morning.
Yes.
Mr. Beaver cooked me
Bacon
breakfast. Had some bacon madness on my eggs. It was very good. So
yeah.
I had bacon, eggs, rye toast, and I had maple bacon flavored hot sauce on my eggs. Magnificent.
And he likes the spicy on his eggs.
I like the spicy on my eggs.
He said it. All right, kits. Have a wonderful day. We'll see you tomorrow with our old pal Jake.